Today, Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar give lecture on the performance management. From his book of the performance management, he will give lecture and discuss the topic of the mentoring and the coaching. How the mentoring and coaching of the staffs are done in the organization. What is the importance? What are the process of mentoring and coaching in the organization? Today we discuss about the contents, objectives, introduction, coaching and mentoring in the organization, coaching, skills and activities of the coaching, coaching to improve unsatisfactory performance, learning to coach, ongoing mentoring and the portrait development, mentoring, skills and activity of the mentoring, learning to mentor, setting up mentoring schemes, informal mentoring, international or cross-cultural implication, summary, keywords, self-assessment, review questions, and the further reading. Objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to explain the concept of the coaching and mentoring. The concept of the coaching and mentoring. Discuss the implication of the coaching and mentoring in organization. Identify the skills and activities of coaching and the mentoring. Describe ongoing mentoring and the portrait development. Introduction. The traditional homogeneity of organizations is increasingly being replaced by the encouragement of the individuality, variety, innovation, and difference. This, however, runs the risk of the losing some of the key attraction of the traditional organization, stability and security. Coaching and mentoring seeks to bridge the gap between the traditional expectation of the organization and more contemporary approaches. Several key features of the coaching and mentoring for individuals and organizations make them attractive. They can encourage a culture of the learning and the mutual help and combine both individual and the organizational development. Both coaching and mentoring are the natural human activity of intuitively practiced by the manager, although the many managers practice them without thinking. Many others have not developed these natural skills or have allowed them to stagnate or disappear. Mentoring and coaching are distinguished from each other generally by the work distance and the time frame what is being discussed. Typically, managers coach those who report them about fairly immediate work development. A mentor is often organizedly more distant from the person they are mentoring by seniority or by outside organization or the department, and can work with the mentee on longer term issue of the personal development and the career planning. Coaching and mentoring in the organization. The significance of the coaching and mentoring for the modern organization lies in the four key aspects. The attention to the individual provided by these activities. This in itself is a shift from the previous attitude to the management of subordinates. This attention can provide a point of stability that makes people more able to respond effectively to change. The individual becomes a skillful and the reflective learner. This is the underlying aim of both activity. Individuals increasingly use their own experience as the key material for learning, assisted by the knowledge and wisdom of the coach or the mentor. Third, the importance of the relationship. Both activities are examples of the what has been described as the developed working relationship. A large part of the success of the mentor or coach depends on the way they manage the relationship at a human and the personal level. This ability transfer into the other working area as not only a survival skill in the new style of the organization, but as a means of the sharing knowledge and the expertise. The effect of the organizational climate and the effect on it. Now the one-to-one relationship is clearly central in the coaching and mentoring. To be the fully effective, it needs to be a part of an organization-wide appreciation of the value of learning as a driver of the relevant change. Effective coaching and value of learning is a driver for the relevant change. Effective coaching and mentoring relationship can help to develop this wider process as well as deriving the benefits from it. Coaching and mentoring frequently run alongside or are an intrinsic part, a self-development process set in place by the organization. These processes run vary with personal projects and the personal development plans at one end of the continuum and an organization-wide self-managed learning program at the other. They are linked by an emphasis on the development, becoming, smoothing, or which individuals have to responsibility themselves. One of the most important conditions for coaching and mentoring to be the useful is the assumption that learning is a respectable activity and everyone can and should be engaged in it. The mentor and the coach challenge and support individuals in their learning and help to provide the organizational framework in which it happens. Success is also more likely where there is clear the evolving picture of the nature of a person's job or the role and where it fits into the organization and the corporate goals. This requires a degree of clarity about job or the role expectation. Well developed and thought through criteria to success. Clear, regular feedback, some of the sense of the resources necessary to achieve the target set, and an understanding of the work content, both internal to the organization and in the marketplace. This clarity is never easy to achieve, but a more towards it set the scene for the effective coaching and the mentoring. Effective coaching and the mentoring. Today talk about the coaching. Effective coaching depends not only on the skills of the coach and the representatives of the person being coached, but also on the condition outlined above being present clearly about the success criteria, useful feedback in the work setting. At the same time, when managers start to coach, if they are working effectively, there is better chance of the surrounding conditions being improved. Coaching conversion may lead to the increased clarity about the job expectation, for instance, and may provide regular feedback and the opportunity to think through the standards and criteria for the success. There is a close to a relationship between the effective coaching initiative and the favorable learning climate, each enhancing the other. The concept of the coaching remains most easily associated with the sports coaching, where the purpose of the coach is to help the person they are coaching to reach their personal best. Interestingly, the nature of the sports coaching is the undergoing basic changes one, which are to some degree mirrored in the organization. There was a time when the coach was the person who drove the athlete on, forced the pace, and continually instructed. Increasingly, coaches are now moving to an approach which involves accurately targeted questioning to help the athlete become increasingly aware what works. For instance, the environment in which he or she performs best, how this feels, and that the obstacles are to achieving this repeatedly. Despite this changing emphasis, some traditional aspects of the coaching remain. For example, the coach also celebrates victory and supports the athlete through bad times. In the same way, the manager who is coaching subordinates find a way of getting them to reflect on their performance, become aware of what they are doing and how they are doing it, so that each individual in the end learn to monitor his or her own performance. At the same time, the manager provides essential information and knowledge where the gaps need to be filled. While doing this, they are working to develop a climate where learning and the innovation as well as achievement are expected and rewarded. The coaching approach challenges the manager to think about the nature of the roles of the people they may be coaching, and this is a development exercise for the manager. Many HR functions are developing some other their management development responsibility to line, and the concept of the manager as coach is seen as a part of this trend. Skills and activities of the coaching. There are many possible approaches to coaching. They may involve watching that a person does and giving feedback on what you notice, working on problems with someone and learning together, asking stimulating, open-ended questions, taking through your own thinking process aloud, and encouraging the other person to do the same, encouraging analysis of what really works for the individual, finding your one way of seeing the work and the learning from the other person's point of view, and using questioning as a way of helping a person understand their own thought process. Coaching can be thought of as two kinds of the conversion: mapping related and performance related. Mapping related conversion may focus on the organizational setting or the culture. What works around here? Where does this project fit into the overall strategic plan? Identifying the problems and the possible causes. What exactly is going wrong? Has this happened before? Establishing overall desired outcome. What are you trying to achieve? What is the general purpose here? Performance-related conservation may focus on what the person is doing. What exactly did you do? How are you going about this? Comparison: is this different from what you did last time? Are other people doing the same time? Can you learn from them? Question about thinking: how are you thinking this thorough? What evidence are you looking for? What assumption are you making? Do you need checking? Question about the resources: what it helped to organize your resources differently? Managers as coaches face a number of the common pitfalls in their consideration for any of the following reasons: having moved into the coaching before establishing a certain amount of the rapport and trust, being unclear in their own minds about what they are trying to achieve by engaging in the conservation, not listening properly because they are too busy deciding whether they are saying it or not, or is right or not, only using questions which demonstrate their knowledge, avoiding questions to which they don't know the answer, answering their own questions, not picking up signal as the conservation goes along about the how useful it is for the other person. These pitfalls can be avoided by keeping in mind the purpose and desired outcome of the coaching activity. Coaching to improve unsatisfactory performance. A further and more skillful area of the coaching is in the area of the challenging or confronting or the performance management. When a person is not delivering the performance required, he may have a variety of the emotional reaction such as a despair, resistance, self-justification, or if the complete unawareness. The coaching approach in this situation is to deal with this by focusing on clear expectation. Often these expectations have not properly mapped out or clearly understood. Gathering information and agreeing whether the problem lies are essential next step, at the same time as staying aware of other person's reaction. In dealing with the underperformance, the following pattern for a coach can be useful. Get clear in your own mind what the situation is, what is the concurrent performance, and what is expected to be. Lay aside feeling of the blame and irritation. Gather information about the how individuals are reacting, their awareness of the performance shortfall, and what they see as the problems. Get the person being coached to share and identify the problem, adding their own perspective and ask them for the possibility to resolve them. This is a stage where it is particularly important to maintain a positive and clear relationship, focusing forward on the next step and the change. Establish a process whereby the employee will set up a plan for informing the coach manager of progress against clearly stated goals. Learning to coach. The value of coaching is that it establishes an effective, dynamic, and working relations in a difficult and the changing situation. In many cases, managers are encouraged to coach by manager as coaches and developer initiates. These may take the form of the workshop or elements of the management development program. As training and development responsibility are being developed, more and more timeline managers, the pressure on them to work in this way increases. Lack of time or priority often get in the way with the widespread threat, feeling that in current working condition, it is quicker just to tell someone how to do things, or alternatively, to let them get on their job rather than taking time to coach. Because of this, there is often a certain amount of the resistance to adopting a coaching style of the management in the first instance. This resistance may also be in reaction to the hype that is in some cases connected with the approach to the coaching. Resistance may be overcome by starting the coaching from the top. The managers who are expected to move to a coaching style may themselves need to be coached. This experience helped them to understand the value of the coaching at the first hand and to get an intuitive sense of how to do it themselves. These are related to the coaching. Today we discuss about the learning to coach. Coaching to improve unsatisfactory performance. Skills and activities of the coaching. Skills and the coaching, we have discussed with this and the coaching and mentoring in the organization, and the introduction and the mentoring and the coaching.